There we go. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you. We're back into Wednesday. We're busy today. We got lots of stuff to get to. We're going to talk about OnlyFans in BC. We've got a major announcement that we did today. We'll announce a new colleague. We're going to talk a little bit about Apple being able to purchase England at this point and a few other things. And Gordon Lightfoot, as always, please welcome back to the program my co-host, very good friend out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, Lochlin Cross, 957 cruisefm.ca. Yeah, you're welcome. 957cruisefm.ca is where you'll find him. Weekday morning show, host of The Locker Room, not just a clever name. I say that all the time. And today, we start off with a heater. We start off with a friend of mine. We go back 20 years. And I remember when I first moved to Toronto, and I had a fresh-faced 28-year-old guy. They was like, hey, you're going to do a morning show at this flamethrower radio station.
Are you ready
you got to meet the captains of industry in the city. And so one of the first people I met was this fella who owned a restaurant called Barberians. And why are you
Barberians?
Well, we were there together. You and I spent a lot of money there, and I'm going to chastise him for that as soon as we bring him on. However,
I may have had a steak there that was the size of my head.
And the best you've ever had, I might add.
Oh, my God. It was so good.
And the wine.
I remember the Caesars, too.
Oh, yes. Everything there is good. It's the best steakhouse in Toronto. And so it gives me great pleasure because we're going to talk Canadiana. We're going to talk restauranting. He's going to shit all over me for my douche flute. Please welcome to the program my very good friend, owner of Barberians Restaurant in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Aaron Barberian, ladies and gentlemen. Barbs.
Here I am.
Hey, remember when we went on vacation a few years ago when I got fired from a radio gig and we went to L.A.? Remember that? Mm-hmm. Remember that 3-week gloriousness? Remember the morning mimosas at the Beverly Hilton Hotel? Remember that?
It was the Beverly Hills Hotel, not
whatever.
Not the Hilton down the road, not the dump. We went to the one owned by the Shake or whatever.
Yeah, the Shake or whatever. Yeah,
it's always better when it's owned by a Shake.
By a Shake. Yeah.
Somebody owns a country.
You know the hotel's going to be good.
Yeah. Where the guy owns a country. Speaking of which, just a quick aside, did you see today Apple surpassed the GDP of England? So they can physically actually ante up and buy that shithole. Did you see that?
Yeah, not a surprise.
Yeah, exactly. How are you, brother? Great to see you.
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Yeah. I've been on a little bit of a tear lately. I came up with another crazy idea and it's getting some traction.
Yeah, let's talk about it. There's you pretending you're Jesus Christ, Lord and Savior, Yonge Dundas Square. This is why I wanted to have you on. Tremendous. Look at you.
That is a good coat, Aaron.
Yeah.
Was the Bupkis sign an accident?
It's a jockey blanket. What are you talking about?
Nice tartan. But there's you, Yonge Dundas Square. This is awesome. It's from an article this week about he wrote the perfect songs. This restaurateur wants to rename Yonge Dundas Square in honor of Gordon Lightfoot. As a child, Aaron Barberian met the beloved musician at his family's steakhouse, Barberians, which is a legendary spot in the city. Now he hopes the city's busiest square will honor the troubadour's legacy. And that's why I wanted to have you on. Also, I wanted you to make fun of me and shit all over me, which will probably come after we get to the real stuff.
Low-hanging fruit, brother.
I know. But I know you to be the guy who, when I first moved here, Yonge Dundas Square was being cleared out. They were getting rid of all the shanty homes and the weirdness and all the brokenness in that area, all the duplexes and the sketchy businesses. And you were the guy who led the charge for Yonge Dundas Square, right? Like that was your thing. That was one of the first. You were the first person I met who was like, "Yeah, we're doing this. I'm in charge of the BIA."
Yeah. Well, the fact was, it was an idea I had about 30 years ago to do this, to build to make a public space there and redevelop the neighborhood. It was before we even had a BIA, which is a Business Residents Association. But I knew that the neighborhood needed something, a significant change. I worked with the Snyderman family of Sam the Record Man fame and a few others and came up with this idea for a public square, kind of I'll call it an analog space, and the crazy signage, the digital signage that was starting to grow like Times Square around it. And it was the right thing to do at the time. We built Yonge Dundas Square. My idea. I put up my own money too.
Good for you. Good for you. That's awesome.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Like,
last time I was in Toronto, we got out of the subway right there and then walked up and there was like 800 people doing yoga.
Yeah. Pretty cool. It's funny. If you look at the Wikipedia page, which if you print it out, it's probably 40 pages. There's just one tiny little line that says, "Hey, conceived by Aaron Barberian and Bobby Snyderman and Counselor." It mentions Counselor Kyle Ray and a couple others, but it really was many hundreds and hundreds of thousands of hours of conceptual work, and it was really a fun thing to build and to watch it happen. But like I said in the article and other places, the name Yonge Dundas Square is just a placeholder name. It was just put there to kind of hold the name. It gave it a location, so it was easy to find on a map. So but 20 years later, it kind of needs a name. And when Gordon passed away, he was the perfect person. He embodies what this neighborhood's all about.
Not only it's awesome. I mean, hey, being friends with a guy that dreamt up Yonge Dundas Square is cool. And being able to see it from its genesis, right, when it went from being what it was to what it is incredible. But you're right, Yonge Dundas is an area. Everybody's going to know that you're going to go to Yonge Dundas. But the Gordon Lightfoot thing intrigued me when I saw it, and it's funny, right, because when your friends appear in news articles, which you do quite a bit, because you're an advocate for downtown, you're an advocate for Canadiana. But that really started at Barberians when your dad started that restaurant decades ago. That speak to that, the relationships, and of course where you met Gordon Lightfoot, because it's a great fucking story.
Yeah, well, the truth is that we are the oldest business in the neighborhood. And when my dad put the restaurant here, people said, "Oh, it'll never work." But my father, a guy who never finished the 7th grade, was one of those guys who was just that kind of smart. He took a map of the city of Toronto and he did these 2-block radiuses around things. And there was Eaton's College Street, and there was Eaton's down at there was an Eaton store at Dundas, or excuse me, down at Queen Street, and there was the Simpson store, and there were the hospitals and the City Hall and Massey Hall, and in a 2-block radius, more things intersected at the corner of Elm and Yonge. So that's why he found the property. And everybody said, "Oh, you'll never make a go of it." And all of those people are long gone, and the family's business is still successful right here.
That's a great story.
City. Yeah.
In the world that we live in, right? In the very disposable world that we live in, and we tend to build stuff and then tear it down in 10 years, or build it so shitty that it falls down in 10 years. Yeah. I like stories like this where something lasts, and you get that sense. Sure. Dean made sure that he took us to this restaurant the last time I was in town, and we had an unbelievable meal, great service, and it was the highlight of the trip. And it's just such a cool little spot, Aaron, right?
Well, and the patina is real. When you come in here and you see, have you ever been to one of these, like they build an English pub in a brand new shopping center with old furniture,
or like a hotel?
It has a fake, synthetic quality.
Yeah.
Well, Barberians is organic and real. And if the tables are if things are a little worn, it's because millions of people have actually rubbed up against it. It's real. It's real.
Yeah. Well, talk about the history though, AB. Like,
go on.
The history of the people that have come through those doors. Like, AB isn't a name dropper. And it's just a regular occurrence for me to go in there, say hi to him, pay him a visit, and him to go, "Oh, Getty just left. Getty Lee just left. You just missed him."
Sure.
Just talk about the history. Some of the people that have come through those doors.
Everywhere you look, we're talking about. It's been on. What's his name? Rob Lowe's been doing a podcast a lot lately, and Adam Sandler and a few others have been doing podcasts, and they talk about, filming in Toronto and hanging out in Toronto. Rob was talking about Chris Farley and the fun they had filming Tommy Boy here. And those were great nights, getting to hang with those guys. Or back in the 20 years before that, hanging out with, John Candy. Or every time you turn around, there's somebody famous or well-known, hanging out with all the different athletes.
What was John Candy like? What was John Candy like? You and I have never talked about that. I know he's large. Yeah, but what was he like?
Sweet
like
man.
I heard he's just the sweetest.
What you saw in those non-comedies like Planes, Trains, that kind of humanity, that was that man. For the funny story in the autograph book, there's an autograph in the book that is, "I'll pay you back, Harry. I'll pay you back tomorrow, I swear." and Gene Levy and a few others are autographed on the same day. So I asked Eugene. I said, Gene, what's the story of this? Like, what? I don't know. I wasn't there that night. I was, I think, at boarding school at the time. And what had happened was John had just left Saturday Night, Second City TV. He was going on his own. He was going to do his own. He was going to make a film, his first whatever feature film, and he quit. And he invited all the cast of SCTV to the restaurant. And he went to pay, and he pulled out his credit card. And back then, you had to call in a credit card and it failed. It wouldn't work. And my dad had to say, John, the credit card doesn't work. And so he basically wrote the IOU in the autograph book. And sure enough, the next day, John sheepishly came in and paid his tab. So there's a funny little, candyism. But he was that honest, beautiful man. And he died on my birthday. So I'll never forget March 4th. He died on March 4th. Last time he was really in the restaurant a lot was when they were filming Canadian Bacon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a lot of fun having him around for the filming of Canadian Bacon, and going to the film festival release of that movie, which he just died in like that prior to that, and going to see that was very emotional for a lot of us to go see that movie with him in it, knowing that he wasn't around anymore.
Yeah, it's that kind of history, right? The Canadiana of the entertainment district, and for the longest time, Barberians was synonymous because when you go in there, they treat everybody like a celebrity, right? So you don't know who's there, you don't know
some
how.
More than others. Just saying. I mean,
not me.
Like, your table will be ready. I think we've got a 4:30, or is it
Tuesday at 6? Yeah,
Tuesday 4:30 up.
Oddly, they frisked. What happened? We lost him.
Did we lose him?
Oh, hopefully.
I was getting ready to get to the Gordon Lightfoot stuff. I was right there. I was on the precipice of the Gordon Lightfoot stuff.
So this is legit. They're passing something as a recommendation to call.
Yeah.
Dundas Square.
Dundas Square, Gordon Lightfoot Square. Yeah. My understanding is that Aaron is leading the charge, and he's trying to make sure that Yonge Dundas Square gives. There he goes. Sorry, continue. Yeah, continue. You were treating me like crap.
Well, I was saying that that I have that half-hour spot for you Tuesday at 4:30. Yeah. Perfect. It's a table by the kitchen. I hope you don't mind, but food's warmer that way. We can get you out fast. Well,
is that the table with
it? You sit there. Can I puff on my douche flute there? How many of those things you've left behind here over the years, dude?
100. Yeah. Sunglasses.
Are they recyclable or are they hazardous waste? You tell me.
No, they're recyclable. You can smoke it. You'll probably get a cold sore, but you can smoke my douche flute if I leave one there. I give you full permission to do that. You don't want it?
You really want those things to be recyclable, don't you?
Yeah. I think they just banned them in Australia, didn't they? It's now
did they?
Legal.
Good.
Yeah, Jules.
That should happen here.
Stuff. What are you talking about? I don't say that alcohol is so much worse for you than this. And I never say ban alcohol. Like Aaron's got, I don't know.
Yeah, but if I crack,
he's got the biggest wine selection in all of Canada, maybe North America.
So you're going to blame me for being a collector of things?
No, I'm not taking your inventory. Don't take my douche flute inventory.
Aaron has good taste. Where you're going to
find that paraffin wax once they outlaw it.
Yeah. Aaron has good taste. You're sucking on a soother full of nicotine.
Yonge Dundas Square, asking, "Can I get? No, I don't want the heroin. Give me the good douche flute juice or whatever.
Give me the glycol.
Pineapple flavored or whatever you're sucking.
No, dude. This is juicy peach ice. You'd love it.
Man, you are a 12-year-old Korean schoolgirl.
I know you can't take the Korean schoolgirl out of the diener. Okay, so listen, let me ask you. Okay, that's good. Let me ask you a question about this article. This is why you're here, dude. You're here because I want to talk to you about this Gordon Lightfoot renaming, because we kind of touched on it. When did you meet Gordon Lightfoot? I was getting ready to jump in before we lost your thing, because he frequented Barberians a ton as well, right? And you grew up loving his music. Absolutely.
I said in one of the articles that basically he was the musician that connected generations. So I was listening to Led Zeppelin and the Rolling Stones and all that when I was young and in the early 70s. And my father was a classical music fan. So Gordon Lightfoot and a few others, maybe Jim Croce and a few other kind of singers. When their songs came on the radio, we could sing them together. They kind of worked, and they brought two generations together, which is pretty cool. But I mean, early meeting him, I remember meeting him a couple times as a young kid, and then sometimes I used to come down late night. I would, I liked the neighborhood. I used to wait for my father to come home at 2 a.m. every night when I was a little kid, and now when I was 9 or 10 years old, I'd come work in the kitchen as a dishwasher and just hang out. But every time there was somebody famous out in the dining room, I remember, going out there to meet, Tony Randall was in with Jack Klugman, and I ran right out there, or Uncle Fester was in the house, or all these actors, and I'm like, I had to meet them all. Meeting Jack Lemmon as a kid was a big deal, or when somebody like Don Rickles was in the house and making fun of everybody. But my parents let me go to every comedy show. I saw Richard Pryor. I saw
Wow.
I saw George Carlin. I saw them all. They never held us. They never, I went and saw Godspell and I saw Jesus Christ Superstar. These shows had nudity on stage when I was 8, 9 years old. My parents never kept me from that. So when these musicians would come in and my dad said, "Hey, do you want to meet?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So I'd, especially Friday or Saturday nights, I'd be here late into the night, and I'd say hi. But the last time we had Gordon Lightfoot in the restaurant was around 2019, and the Brady family, a well-known developer family here in Toronto, they had some paintings and artwork commissioned of Gordon, and we did a dinner in the wine cellar, and that was the last time he was in for a meal. Prior to that, when they filmed the documentary, they filmed some of the documentary here at the restaurant, but I think it ended up on the cutting room floor. But it was really cool because I had a moment before he sat down, and this is the kind of man that Gordon Lightfoot was. He asked how my son was. He asked because he knew my son has got a disability, and he asked. So that's you ask about what kind of man Gordon was. He was a generous, soulful, beautiful man.
Oh man, I love those stories when the humanity of the individual becomes the story, right? And there's lots of stories about Gordon Lightfoot managing his inputs around him. He liked being with solid people. There was nothing duplicitous about the individual. But to that point, everybody I talked to that has met him on more than one occasion said his recall was incredible. Like he was really interested in the
How do you remember? Now I know that politicians they before they meet people they ask their EA and who's going to be there, and they get a little 30 seconds of who it is, and before they even when they're standing in line, you can see somebody whisper in their ear. He didn't have that. He remembered that I had a son who uses a wheelchair to get around. And he said, "How is he?" And like, how do you remember that? I don't remember what day it is. It's like amazing. It's stunning.
Yeah, it is stunning.
Cool.
So what's the process? Because I'm all aboard the let's rename Yonge Dundas Gordon Lightfoot Square.
Okay, so here's
so
where
how
we are
can we
right
help?
now. I've written my letters, and I've done. This will probably be my last interview on this for a while. Now I'm at the point where I'm asking people to write letters to City Hall, to their councillors, to the mayor's office. One of the councillors, I said, I called up, and they said, "Well, I haven't gotten a single letter about this, so like that doesn't count." And I said, "Well, really, you need letters. So let's get people to write some letters." I'm just kind of doing this on my own. I got a great video this morning sent to me by Dave Hodge, Hockey Night in Canada's Dave Hodge. He introduced the film yesterday at the Bell Lightbox, the documentary on Gordon, and he did a 10-minute intro, and he mentioned it's time for everybody to hop on board with this renaming of YD Square, and
well, that's huge.
Yeah, and everybody applauds. I've only had one or two people say anything negative and like comments on whatever, and they're saying it should be named after a person, and I feel like saying, well, it already is. It's named after two people, and both of them didn't live in Canada. One was the Secretary of War, and the other seemed to be involved somehow in slowing down the abolition of slavery. So it's already named after a guy named Yonge and a guy named Dundas. So it's already named that. So why not just change it to somebody who matters to us, who's culturally important?
It's a great idea, Aaron. It's an awesome idea.
Let's do it. But it's up to you and everybody else to get people out there to write letters to the mayoral candidates and to the and everybody. And that's where we are right now. It'll be up to the new mayor of Toronto basically to make this happen. It's not gonna. I just can't wish it so. Even though I'm the guy that invented Yonge Dundas Square and all that, it's grown up and it's not mine anymore. It's like preventing your 25-year-old kid from getting a tattoo or something. I have no control over it anymore. I just want to give it good vision and whatever.
Yeah. So we're on board. When we get off the phone, when we finish this podcast, I'm going to reach out to you. We'll get our people in touch and we'll come up with some stuff, and then we'll sell some of your steak spice, Barberian Steak Spice, ladies and gentlemen. No, but we're not only selling your steak spice, but what I want to do is I want to get behind this, because I think that we've been through the gamut when it comes to cancellation and renaming things and tearing down statues. And I'll tell you something.
Yeah.
Gordon Lightfoot might have been one of the more inclusive individuals to ever call themselves a Canadian. On top of the fact he was an absolutely stellar individual who nobody has a bad story about. So this is an opportunity. Go ahead.
Okay, so where I am on that, when people say, well, he's from Orillia, and I say, well, yeah, but he chose to move to Toronto, and he lived and he worked and he performed in Toronto. And then they say, well, and then they said, well, what about other famous Canadians? I said, well, he remained a Canadian. He did not move to LA or anywhere else. He didn't.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He didn't become an American. He chose to stay here. He chose to live here, and unfortunately, this is where he passed away. And you don't get to pick where you were born. Like, with all due respect to the lovely town of Orillia, it's a beautiful little town, but you're from there, and he never denied that, and he would go back. And
I don't think that has anything to do with naming this square.
Yeah,
there shouldn't be.
Should name something after him too. Like I'm not. That's not the. It's not an either or. It's the fact that this is the city, and he performed more in this neighborhood. He performed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shows in this neighborhood. And his records, whenever they were sold at Sam the Record Man and A&A, and this is where it was, and this is where the music industry. This is where it belongs.
Yeah.
We're on it. We're going to start the campaign.
Him being a Leaf fan may have killed him as well, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. There's a strong case to be made for that.
How are those Oilers doing?
He knows you're from Alberta, dude.
Yeah.
He knows you're in the same fucking misery boat as us. Trying to fucking raise the sales.
Aaron. Yeah.
It's true.
Well, we got next year. You guys are going to dismantle and you're going to rebuild. We're not going to do that.
The make believes. This is really interesting city. Of course, it's because it's the only place in North America where the leaves fall in the spring.
So many jokes.
It's pretty hard, but I'm a hardcore baseball fan.
Yeah,
I was down there yesterday. Saw.
They look great yesterday.
Cheating with the sticky stuff on the hand. And
did you see that?
Yeah. So my theory on that one is, if a guy gets caught cheating, it's no good to give him a 10-game suspension. That only helps the teams we're performing against. I think the game should have been forfeited immediately. Or how about one run per inning when a guy pitches and gets busted like that? There's got to be some punishment in that moment, as opposed to, oh, great, you kick him out so the teams he's playing that we're
but the problem with that, Aaron, is there's this culture in baseball, which is weird, where everybody just decided long ago that if you can find a way to cheat, do it.
Sure.
And so they all just sort of accept it. That's why there's not a lot of, like, as soon as there's a decision made, everyone just moves on because they're like, all right, okay, we got caught. Yeah, okay. Guess what? The Yankees are cheating.
I get it.
Yeah. So
I was yelling out there after that. I said, do you need a trash can lid? What's next? I mean, you want to go back to that little thing on the chest, that little stuck like Houston Astro, the digital thing stuck on your chest? Like yes, cheating in baseball is like fighting in hockey or steroids in football or whatever. There's
steroids in all sports.
Yeah.
Steroids.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, dude, I watched your mom get kicked out of the game in like the 4th inning yesterday, and you saw all the black stuff on his pants. And then the day before, you saw Aaron Judge looking over at the first base coach who was stealing signs. I don't even know how they do that with PitchCom, but they did. All of that, of course, pales in comparison to my favorite Blue Jays memory. Was that time about 12 years ago where Aaron Barberian caught a bat behind home plate, which is where his season
I've seen this video, Aaron.
Dude,
you and I have never met, and I've seen
this
video.
Oh, there it is. You had to do it. You had to do it. So that moment, Kipnis lost control of a bat. It's the home opener. Here's the crazy thing about that story. That game was the home opener, and Geddy Lee and Rush, and I'm friends with Ged. They were going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so they asked Geddy to throw the home opening pitch, and he threw the pitch. He threw the ceremonial pitch, and then just 9 minutes later, this happens. The second batter, Jason Kipnis, bat comes flying in. I do this stupid kind of like I look like I'm a Mike Myers character.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah. And then I throw the bat across the dugout because I sit in the second row, and it almost hits Tito in the head, and he tried to kick me out of the game, which is another story for throwing something on the field. But so that was a crazy moment, but I didn't think anybody saw it. That was never like, this is pre-meme kind of, like I wasn't expecting to, but MLB put it on their website, and I'm like, oh fuck. So I leave the game and everybody's talking. Meanwhile, this game, the celebrity in this whole game is supposed to be my good friend Geddy. They're going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They get the first pitch, and the cover of the newspaper, instead of being Geddy Lee and the Jays winning, it was the Jays losing and Aaron Barberian with the crazy back guy kind of thing.
Dude, it gets better. This is like, Aaron has made the news twice, and he's known as crazy bat wielding Blue Jays fan. And he made news shortly after this. While he's a successful restaurateur, but he'll always be bat wielding crazy Jays fan to us. Have you seen? Are you guys getting this on your screen? I don't think you are.
You are. We are. Yeah. It looks like your what is it? Microsoft Windows 12 or whatever.
Yeah, don't make fun of me, dude. I'm blowing you up here. Just relax. This is good. So this is you. Aaron owns Barberians, but he also owns a couple other businesses on the Strip on Elm. One was a sandwich shop. I don't even think it's still there. It might be. Do you still do the sandwich shop? Is that still there?
I sold it to somebody else, and they run it as a sandwich shop now.
Okay, good. So this happened several years ago, and I was with my former agent and friend, and you know who we're talking about.
Yep.
And he sends me the CCTV video of this. He goes, "Hey, AB got robbed yesterday," and I'm like, "No way! Watch what happens." This is Aaron trying to.
You got to zoom down a little
cash
bit.
float.
You got to click on the other window a little bit. Grow up.
Okay, hang on a second. Is this? Can you see it?
All I can see is the GIF of me with a bat. Go down a little further. There's the video.
There you go. And this guy tries to rob him, and Aaron, $400 in the float? AB?
Yeah, whatever. Principle.
Let's watch it from the beginning. You can see Aaron. Explain what's going on here. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, there's this. Unfortunately, this guy comes up behind me. I'm carrying the float over to the sandwich shop, and this guy comes up and he tries to take the money, and he grabs fives in one hand and tens in another, and then so I know he doesn't have a weapon, and
God, this is amazing.
So I whip him to the ground.
You beat the shit out of him.
I jersey the guy, and I throw him to the ground over and over and over again in the middle of the street. Like I'm just like 5 or 6 times or whatever.
Now the sandwich artist is coming and running out.
Yeah. And my staff, and it gets weirder than that because this woman hops out of a car, and first of all, there's a good Samaritan picks up all the cash and gives us the cash back. But a woman gets out of her car late in that video, and my cell phone goes in the middle of the street. She steals my cell phone. Now. I realized the guy who was trying to mug me is a mentally deranged, street-involved individual. So we actually worked to get him some mental health help. You know, I didn't press any
After
charges
you whooped
on
his ass. Listen, there's no way you're going to be able to ascertain his mental health status while you're whooping his ass. So,
Well,
you
I
know,
mean,
it was nice that
I mean,
you
I
went
might
and did
have,
that after.
you know, I'm not saying. Well, the CBC, of course, did I go too far, and maybe I should be arrested for beating this guy up?
Is that what they said?
Yeah, that was one comment. But I mean, the woman who stole my cell phone, I'm now on Christmas time. I'm down in Florida. I get this call saying, I have your cell phone, and it says here in the back of the phone, there's $100 reward for giving it back. And I'm like, oh yeah. So I call 52 Division, and they arrange a kind of a sting because I'm out of the country. I say, come meet me somewhere, and I'll give you the money. You give me back the phone. So they go and arrest these people for kind of trying to extort money from me to give me my phone back. Well, they get detained. The cops call me and they say, do you mind if we don't press charges on with them? I said, why? Well, because apparently her and her boyfriend were like drug dealers, steroid dealers in Mississauga, and where they had HGH and all this other stuff, and there was a bigger charge. So they were further arrested on a much more significant charge. So I helped bust a gym rat steroid ring.
That's unbelievable.
Thing. Yeah. I never did get that phone back, but whatever.
Well, dude, you don't need it, right?
Listen, well, it'd be nice framed up. I'd give it to you as an award.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you would.
But like 6 million people saw the YouTube video. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it just follows him around too, Locke. Like it's fucking unbelievable.
More than Christmas on Twitter that Christmas morning.
Yeah, I remember that, dude. I
have a very boring life. I'm realizing that.
I watched it like 4,000 times, and I couldn't stop calling Adrian back, going, "This guy is unbelievable." And his words were, "Never get between an Armenian and a cash float."
There you go. It's been a fun little ride. Having this restaurant, we get to meet interesting people. I got micro celebrity status in Toronto, so if something happens to me, it makes the papers. Yeah, it's a fun ride. It's a lot of fun.
Cool.
Well, listen, I'm a pleasure to call you my friend for a couple of decades. Barberian Steakhouse is on Elm Street. It is the best steakhouse in Toronto. I maintain that everywhere I go. I put my money where my mouth is and took Lochlin there.
It's very good.
This time.
We had an unbelievable meal. It was a great night.
Well, look forward to entertaining both of you. Lochlin, do you have a glass of wine every once in a while?
I have several glasses of wine all the time.
He picked up for me because you get these. When I quit drinking, AB was part of the Dean's fucked crowd.
I mean, this guy really?
I'm not a quitter.
Yeah.
There are a lot of nights where I walk downstairs from AB's restaurant where we would come in off the patio, where I would be in the car and go, I don't know how I got here, but I'm pretty sure I had a fucking great time. Let's go.
Well, it's always a pleasure, brother. You guys have fun.
Yeah,
thank you. Hey, good to see you, Aaron.
I'm gonna call you. We're gonna get some traction on this, and we're gonna make sure people start sending letters.
So people just write a quick little note, email to pick a city councilor, pick the deputy mayor, the office of the mayor here in Toronto. I don't think you have to be from Toronto. You could just say, as a Canadian, this would be a great. I think
it's a great idea, and you know what I mean. You couldn't pick any. Name me someone more famous than Gordon Lightfoot in Canada. I mean, if you're making a top 10 list of the most famous people in Canada, he's going to make that a lot of people
in Canada. Because, like people would say like Neil Young. Well, Neil Young quit. He moved to America. I love Neil. Big fan. His first job ever, if you look at his biography, was actually working at the Coles bookstore at the corner of Yonge and Dundas. He worked as a stock boy there. So there are a lot of famous Canadians.
A lot of famous Canadians.
This is the right one.
But Gordon's up there. And
absolutely.
I love the fact that, like you said, he stayed here. He made this country his
home.
Chose
this place,
yeah.
And if you stopped him on the street, didn't know him, he would not have shooed you away. He would have engaged and listened.
By the way, you may not know this. Well, you probably know this, Aaron, but he's got a live record coming out from one of his last shows.
I heard the Royal Albert recordings or something like that. In July, I just heard that. It's knocked me off. If you Google the news on Gordon Lightfoot, it's knocked off the square. It kind of annoys me. But I talked to Bernie Fiedler, his agent, and wait. He's going to be doing a series of concerts across Canada with some very, very famous musicians on and around Gordy's 85th birthday in November. It would have been. So there's going to be
Like
some
a
really
tribute
cool
tour
stuff.
with people to pay tribute to
Oh!
Gordy doing his songs and stuff like that, going across the country,
They
celebrate
are.
his
I
life.
know that he's got Toronto.
Awesome.
He's got the National Arts Center in Ottawa. He's got a few of them planned, and Massey Hall, of course. So just you wait. This is going to be the year of remembering this great man, and hopefully they can announce it right around what would have been his 85th birthday, if everybody communicates with the city and says this ain't a bad idea.
Well, you know, the one thing that we can all lean on here, Aaron, is that when it comes to politicians, especially locally, you know, civically, they always do the right thing. They're there for us and the community.
We're down to 64 candidates for mayor, by the way, here in Toronto.
Whittling it down, eh?
Who do you think is going to win? We had 101 the other day, down to 64. Who do you like?
I think that whoever wins is going to win with about 80% of the population voting against them, which is kind of why I'd love to see Toronto and other cities go to a runoff election. You can set it immediately 2 days after or 2 weeks after, whatever. But you have to be able to get 50% of the people vote. And I think that's for everything. The fact that our prime minister has what 32% of the people voted for him, like really? Less than 32? Like, how can you lead when
it's 32% with the coalition, I think. So I think he was at 26% or something. So.
Yeah, so 3/4 of Canadians voted against you, and you think you have a mandate? That's just nuts.
Yeah,
Canada's got to look at that carefully and do something.
How does a runoff work, Aaron? I know they do this in the States, and I hear it all the time, but I have no idea.
Over 50% of the vote, you get a whole bunch.
There are
of
a lot of places that have runoff elections.
Yeah. You have to get over 50.
Turkey's about to do it for their leader because Erdogan didn't get.
What is it? I don't understand it.
You don't understand how this works?
So yeah, I don't get it. I swear to God.
I don't understand why. You take the top 2 or maybe 3 candidates, or two. You need 2 because then it's 50% plus 1.
The States, it's 2. Yeah.
And your top 2 candidates, you get it. And some places went to that first past the post thing where you vote for your first and second, and they can digitally calculate that by eliminating.
Oh, okay.
But that scares people. I'd really rather see one last debate between number 1 and number 2, and then 2 weeks later we go back to the polls. And it can be done digitally now. We're smart enough. You can use an ATM. You know, we bank by phone. We should be able to identify ourselves digitally and get every.
I love your confidence in humanity. It's awesome.
He's one of the kings.
Yeah,
dude.
Well,
he's Mr. Toronto.
You don't hear that often. Yeah. We're smart enough.
I pick the winners all the time. It's a skill of mine.
Yeah, that's why we're friends, right? That's why we're friends.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
All the best, Aaron. Barberian Steakhouse. Thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you soon on Gordon Lightfoot Square. Wants to rename Yonge Dundas Square Gordon Lightfoot Square. That is the guy who came up with the idea of Yonge Dundas Square. He gets what he wants. He is a legend in the city, too. Like, it's when you go into his restaurant. Well, you were there. Yeah. Did you meet him when we were there? I don't think you did.
No, we did not meet. He was not there. We met the manager.
Mike.
Yes.
Yeah, Mike and Vic.
Big guy.
Yeah.
Big guy.
Great guy. Great group.
He patted me down just to make sure when we left that I wasn't stealing the cutlery.
Packing heat or stealing salt shakers. Yeah, that's what you're going to do. This is a nice salt shaker. You were yammed when we left that restaurant.
I did get quite yammed. I remember.
Yammed.
Yeah, I remember we hopped in a Uber or something too.
Yeah, with Karima.
Yeah, and then I ruined Karima's Uber rating.
Yeah, you did. And she was really upset because she's like a perfect 5-star Uber rating. She went down to like a 4.94, but she takes her Uber rating seriously. Anyway, write a letter.
Never let me in the front seat.
I know. Now I know.
I always go for it though too.
I know.
I like to get on the radio.
Write a letter to your Toronto City MP, City Council. Any moron politician that likes them to think they're really important has a position in the city. What you need to do is say, we want Yonge Dundas Square to be renamed Gordon Lightfoot Square. Tell them why. And we're going to start the campaign coming up the next week or two. You better take care when you find me creeping down my stairs. Speaking of Canadians,
I love that song. We played that a little bit this morning.
Sundown, you better take care. That one. Have
you heard the Headstones version of Wreck of
Edmund Fitzgerald? Yep, it's great.
Yeah, it's good. it makes people there's no gray area. People either love it or they hate it. I like it. I thought Hugh did a great job on that.
I did too. Underrated band. He decided to become a super famous actor and voice worker, so he doesn't have a lot of time for the headstones. But yeah, I like that.
They're touring again this summer, I think. So they might pop
Headstones?
up.
Is
Headstones.
Tim still in the band, the bass player? Tim?
Yeah.
Boom, boom,
I
boom,
think
boom,
Tim
boom,
is
boom,
kind of the
boom.
glue. Tim's kind of the
guy.
glue. Yeah.
One of the kings. Yeah.
Tim looks like somebody that he's got to be in his 50s now, but would announce the fact that he has started a career in MMA. Right? You know what I mean? Like he's that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Or he's
I'm a
like,
big fan of the
I'm
Headstones.
trying gardening. He's like, I'm going to do a building. Ben Kowalowitz from Billy Talent's the same thing. Talk to Ben on any given day, and you're like, hey, what are you doing? Well, I decided to start my own herb farm in the backyard. And I'm like, an herb farm? And he's like, yeah, I dig gardening. Me and the wife, we always garden. And I'm like, oh, great. Then you see him the next time. You're like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm studying neuroscience.
Yeah. Ben's
really,
he's off the charts smart.
Yeah, and a wonderful guy. He was one of our first interns when I got to the Edge, by the way.
He was in the van on the street, wasn't he?
No, well, he was, and then he was Brother Bill's producer. And then like 2 years, good. He was fucking awesome producer. And then 2 years later, he gets third or fourth stage at Edge Fest. And we're like, oh, good. Ben's little band is going to go play Edge Fest.
Oh, fuck.
And
I love that,
went
man.
And saw them on the fourth stage, right? With
Billy
like nobody. Holy shit. I was like, oh my God, you're a good band. Like, you're really good at this. He's like, thanks.
Oddly,
he was fucking huge. Like, trying massive.
There is a connection between Billy Talent and the Headstones.
Do tell.
What's the name of that movie? That
Hardcore Logo.
Hardcore Logo that Hugh Dillon was in. It's one of his first acting jobs. It's actually part of the reason why Hugh got into acting to begin with. And he played the front man of a fictional band, which was, I think, loosely based on a punk band, a punk outfit in Vancouver, in the Vancouver area from the 80s, early 80s. Mm-hmm. And his name in Hardcore Logo was Billy Talent. So yes. I believe Ben was a big fan of that movie and named his band Billy Talent. Yeah, I wonder if Ben and Hugh have hung out together. Yes, I believe. Yeah, I think it was DOA.
They do know each other. I believe Bruce McCulloch, the guy who directed Hardcore Logo, is really good friends with both of them. So,
yes,
yeah, that's my understanding. Yeah,
have you met Bruce?
I have. Bruce I was years ago. He directed like 20 years ago.
What's he doing now?
I was asked to appear in a few episodes of Degrassi: The Next Generation.
Oh, was he part of that?
By Joey Jeremiah, who at the time was a friend of mine, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to come play a part in this?" Bruce McCulloch is the director. I'm like, "Who's that?" He's like, "Hardcore Logo. You haven't watched it?" I'm like, "No." So yeah, he was
fucking movie.
My director in that show. So it was the first time I met Bruce McCulloch. Maybe one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life, and a hell of a director. Even though he was only my first and only director to direct.
Not that we need to keep going down this path, but Hugh Dillon, I believe, got the attention of Quentin Tarantino from his work in Hardcore Logo as well, and ended up as a conversation for one of Quentin Tarantino's movies. I'm trying to remember. He tried out for a couple of roles, actually. What the hell? Quentin Tarantino movies.
Dude, when you think about Canadian musicians that have been able to branch out, Hugh Dillon may be the only cat. Right? Which is weird when you say it. Like, to be as secure as he is acting and doing voice work, like he's the voice of like every car company now too, like every single one.
Yeah, he does the Chevy spots, right?
Really well. Yeah, dude. And he's such a good dude. And he's got such an amazing story too about his time doing drugs and, before he'd go on stage, past when he like 20, 25 years ago when he was still on drugs, he needed
Jackie
drugs
Brown
before he'd go on stage. Oh, he wanted to be in Jackie Brown.
Well, there was a role in Jackie Brown that I think ended up going to somebody like hugely famous. Like I think he was actually trying out for the what the hell was his name? I think he was trying out for, and he read for it a couple of times.
Is that good?
What the hell was it? It was Michael Keaton's role, I believe. Anyway, I could be wrong. Somebody that's smarter than me might have a better idea. But yeah,
in the comment section,
had to dig deep for that one.
So far, nothing. Haven't heard a word. Nothing.
Yeah.
No
I believe he tried out for that role. Never did get it, but yeah. No, listen, Hugh, back in the 80s, I used to go to those Headstone shows and the 90s because it was chaos, man. The Headstone shows were nuts. And they tour a lot with other bands that were sort of in the same like debauchery level of debauchery.
Oh, they went hard. That was a party.
Junkhouse,
yeah,
Tom
Junkhouse is a
Wilson.
great band. Tom Wilson was fucked in the head.
Those guys were
Tom Wilson looked like
crazy.
he hasn't showered in his entire life. I've met that guy 4 or 5 times, and every time I met him, he looked like he just didn't give a fuck even more and more and more. And that's what I liked about him the most.
Well, I believe he might have well, I think he's got a couple of issues in the substance department. So Tom
Still, huh?
Tom went. I don't know about that. Maybe possibly. Tom went hard,
Oh, yeah.
and I was at a Junkhouse Headstone show in Prince George, BC, in
How
in the
drunk were
90s.
you? How drunk?
The Generator. Oh, I was as drunk as the band. And literally, Tom. I remember Tom. It was Tom or Hugh. One of them fell off the stage at one point. They were so drunk. But those shows were they were frantic, and there was just this energy to them. And the thing is, this is the thing that people don't realize. Canadian music just doesn't get the credit it deserves. We've screwed ourselves with CanCon. We just did not give these bands enough. The Headstones is a punk band. Have you seen them live? They're all punk songs. It's all punk progressions, and they're in your face. I mean, they should be one of the biggest bands in the world. They're right up there, in my opinion, with Clash and Sex Pistols. But we destroy them. We put a thumb on them with the CanCon rule.
To be fair, Canada has that habit of destroying stars.
Yes!
Unless those stars get up and leave and go to another country where they embrace stars and want to be around stars and want to make money with and off of stars. And I was reminded of that this week. So we had a big announcement today, and very excited to make the announcement. We've been working on it for a while, right? And you know the announcement because I've told you about it ahead of time. But today we hired Charles Adler as the new voice of Crier Media. Now, Charles and I have worked together for a long period of time. We worked together for probably 20 years without actually meeting or knowing each other in the same company.
What do you mean you were? Oh, Chorus.
Yeah.
Oh,
we
I
both
see what
worked
you're
at
saying.
Chorus Entertainment, which is, I believe, their share price today dipped below $150 a share, not $150.
When did Charles get punted?
Several. It's a great question. A year ago, year and a half
It's
ago.
been that long, eh? Okay.
Yeah, a year ago, year and a half ago. So we made this announcement today, and I couldn't have been more happy about it. And I'll tell you why, because Charles Adler is a media legend in this country, and he is the gold standard. He is a nationally syndicated for over 40 years in the country of Canada that we know and love. We put out the announcement today. Charles's words say, quote, "Working in media ever since I was a teen has made my dreams come true and then some. But the best thing about the journey has been helping thousands of others see the fulfillment of their dreams and to tell their stories. Now it's time for another dream, a chance to work with media rock star Dean Blundell and his crew at Crier Media." That's you,
Did you
bud.
punch that up a bit?
No, I didn't write any of it. I wished I did. I let him write his own thing. Dude, this guy is it. He is the gold standard. I don't tell him what to write or do. Genuinely excited, he says, for the opportunity to rebuild my bridge to millions of people with an unleashed, unplugged version of Charles Adler, the podcast with unlimited potential to talk to you and hear you whenever you choose to share some time. Charles Adler. This is a superstar in this country. It doesn't get bigger. It does not get bigger than Charles Adler. When I was a young punk doing fart jokes on the Edge for 15 years, he was that guy that would be piped into the building, into our head office, or everybody sat around and listened. He is a former conservative member. He has grown up in the Conservative Party, and over the past 3 years, he and I have had very similar values kind of come together. Crier Media was created because we wanted to be able to be that wedge in this industry, and we are doing that. And so what we did is we partnered with Charles.
I think it's unfair to place him on the right.
No. But he's had a change of opinion. He's had a change
Yeah.
of thought. And
I
as
never
far
thought
as,
he was conservative. I thought
Very much so.
he was, but I never. His views were just. The unfortunate thing about Adler is that he was a conservative that had a very balanced approach to how he looked at life. So I just don't know. I never viewed Charles as a hardcore conservative just because he actually
not in today's
is
sense,
thoughtful.
And you know what? I'll let him tell his story and I'll let him talk about his journey, but he's incredibly thoughtful.
Yeah.
You know, the humanity that Charles Adler expresses in my conversations, the humanity, the love, and the trust that he would like to breathe into this media landscape blows my mind. You and I both know this, right? Traditional media, the way media is set up in this country, is a joke. It is not a business of value. It's not a business of virtue. And so when Charles and I started talking a couple of weeks ago, he wanted a home. We desperately wanted him to have a home with us for one reason and one reason only. Well, maybe two. But the biggest reason was like-minded people, passionate people who have the ability to express themselves, who have the ability to do their jobs and not think about what your boss is saying, the damage you might do to your industry, or the fact that you're branded and who you work for in Canada do not want you to be bigger than them. That's Charles's problem, and that's my problem with traditional media. The reason why he and I are doing this together, the reason why we're making money together, the reason why we're funded, the reason why we're going to build out Crier Media to be the ecosystem which will disrupt media in this country is because we are unpredictable. We speak our truth. We'll talk to people. We'll have hard conversations. We don't mind calling spades spades. And we don't mind telling you the part that traditional media won't tell you because they're afraid it's going to upset their political biases. They're afraid it's going to upset a political or business relationship. No, we don't do that. We are not government funded. We do anything we want, anytime we want. And the entire MO for guys like Charles and myself is to be the town crier in this landscape of shit media. And it is shit. It has been shit for a long time. It treats people terribly. There are very few companies, and I would count Lochlin Cross's Harvard Communications as one of them, and there are maybe two or three in this country who treat individuals who they are trying to win a race with like human beings. Very, very few. Charles Adler come here and come home with us because we are different, and we're not fucking around anymore, okay? The second reason Charles is here, and this is what I love the most, and I believe this to be the truest of true, the best revenge is happiness and success. So we're going to give Charles everything he needs to be successful and talk to you and make a difference in this landscape and talk to you about what's important, to give you his thoughts. Whether you think he's from the right or the left doesn't matter, because he doesn't do that. We don't do that. I don't do that. He's going to tell you the truth about what he sees. He's going to take the human being side. He's going to take the Canadian side. He's not going to take the conservative side. He's not going to take the liberal side. He's not going to take the NDP side. That is courage in this current climate. And I'm very proud to have Charles Adler here at Crier Media. And we're proud to be the home of Charles Adler. So there you go. That's what we're going to do.
Now, please tell me he's going to have a live podcast on the network.
We're working out those details.
Yeah.
Charles is
Make it live. Make it live with Charles.
3 day
Make it
week.
live because he likes the engagement.
He can do whatever he wants. We're going to leave that to Charles. He's also going to be writing, so we will be the official home of Charles Adler and what he writes and what he does. Charles, here's the other beautiful part. Charles also does some work with Jesperson, who does a great job in this space. He also is a columnist for the Winnipeg Free Press, who he's allowed to do anything he wants. That's
Charles
the difference between
writer.
new media. Oh, one of the best writers on the planet. So that is coming to Crier Media. Common sense is coming to you from us, and that's just the start. So we're really excited for where we're going.
I thought we were covered with me, but I mean, I understand why you want to branch out a bit. Can we talk about the buttons? Is this a new look?
Yeah, the shirt.
Yeah.
What's wrong with it? You don't like it?
I don't know.
Branching out from black to blue. I got a little blue shirt on here giving me the gears.
Well, I just want to make sure that I need to be prepared for this, right? Like if you're going to start changing up the wardrobe, I just need to wrap my head around it. I mean, you dress like a sloth, right?
Yeah, no. I'm trying to go with the Elon Musk look. That's what I'm
Okay,
like
all
where
right.
you kind of look like you don't
I
care,
like it.
but you also look like a mogul. You know what I mean?
I like it. Do you want me to start collaring it up?
No, this
Come
isn't
on
a collar.
with
This
golf
is
shirts.
This is just it's not a collar.
Buttons is a big move. Like I
It's
just want to
a-
make sure that we're on the same page here. If there's a dress code for the pod now, I want to be aware of it. Right?
No, there's no dress code for the pod.
Yeah.
Of the pod. Back to Elon Musk. Did you see his interview on MSNBC yesterday? Did you see him?
No. There is a rumor that he is.
Lost his fucking mind.
Yes, that was the rumor.
Dude, he's lost his fucking mind. Like, I'm gonna play you 2 clips. Okay. Clips. Then we'll go. But these 2 clips are earth-shaking in terms of reputation for one Elon fuckface Musk. I'm pretty sure that's his first name. Might be Charles, might be John, but I'm pretty sure it's fuckface. So, as you know, last week, he got into trouble because he was basically race baiting George Soros and Jews. Not smart. Not only is he been, bringing the high heat from the white supremacist corner, but he's also bringing the alt-right heat, the conspiracy heat. It's what he does. So he was asked about that in a very rare interview because shithead doesn't do many interviews anymore, right? He's insular. And I'm going to play you this clip.
Well, his attempts at reaching out to the public
Not great.
have not been great. Like that thing on stage. Remember
Which
the
one?
band, the introduction. It just everything goes wrong.
For awkward fuck on the planet, right?
Yeah,
like
it
just
doesn't
awkward.
go well. Yeah, you can like him or hate him, but that he just doesn't. He's not a likable guy, right? So stay home.
Not only is he not likable, he's bringing all the heat. And yesterday in this interview, basically said, "I got money, so fuck you, everybody. I'll do whatever I want." But the way he did it was the most fucked 40 seconds in television history. I want you to pay special attention to the silence where someone says, "Hey, what about the white supremacy and no advertising? What about you pushing around white supremacy shit on and alt-right shit and disinformation shit and no one wanting to do business with Twitter? What about that? What about wasting $44 billion? Just watch."
Or there are advertisers on Twitter that Linda Yaccarino will come and say, "You got to stop, man. I can't get these ads because of some of the things you tweet."
I'm reminded of the scene in The Princess Bride. Great movie.
Great movie.
Where he confronts the person who killed his father. And he says, "Offer me money. Offer me power. I don't care."
So you just don't care. You want to share what you have to say.
I'll say what I want to say, and if the consequence of that is losing money, so be it.
Did you see his lip quiver? You see that?
Well,
Did you see?
I think a lot of times, like we always.
No, but hang on. Did you see his lips start to quiver?
Yeah. But I think what we forget.
That is a man who is on the ledge, gentlemen.
Yeah.
That is a nervous system issue. That is something that means he has a lot of fucking shit going on in here right now.
Yeah.
And he is scared to fucking death. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Continue.
No, it's fine. I think I keep bringing this up. The thing that we keep forgetting about these people that reach these certain levels in life is that they are just people, right? Like there's different levels of intelligence. There's all these things, but they are personalities and they are impacted by the world that they live in. And again, you do not, if you put all the billionaires in a room together and you do an analysis, you're going to have a higher level of narcissism in that room than you are going to have with people that just get by day to day, check to check, get a mortgage, get a job, raise a family. Yeah. Like you have to be of a certain personality type to want to achieve the things that he has achieved, like to make that ultimately your goal. And then when you get that kind of money, you know, maybe maybe your testosterone levels go down because you hit 40. So you start upping that, and it has an impact on how you react to a question like that. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that could explain this man, and we don't separate the fact that he's a billionaire and he's accomplished all these things. You know what I mean? That isn't taken into the equation.
But
we were talking about Nick Cannon this morning on the Locker Room. And I'm like, listen, the guy's got 6 different baby mamas. He's got 12 kids.
11.
Is it 11?
11.
Okay, he's got 12 kids or something like that. He is mentally ill. I'm sorry. No one does that on purpose. You're not going to convince me otherwise. But we have somehow allowed him to do it, right? Like, no, and
procreate, willy-nilly. Yeah. Same with Elon Musk. He's got 12 kids with 5 women. Yeah, same thing.
This is a like, this guy is not right. He's not mentally right. We've just allowed him to do what he does because he's got lots and lots and lots and lots of money. If we just had a random dude that we knew that was running around town knocking up women, like, and
have him arrested,
we would probably, like, if he was in your friends group, we wouldn't be celebrating him and putting him on every, like, talk show in the country.
Right. I had this conversation with someone yesterday where they were telling me how brilliant Elon Musk is. And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me, dude. And it was right after I saw this video.
He might be brilliant.
I sent the video to somebody.
He might be.
I don't think he is. Like, a brilliant person doesn't take 44 billion, great advice from professionals, drive it into a social media platform, and then destroy the whole fucking thing because, as he just pointed out, he doesn't give a fuck. That is not good advice. That is someone who is a slave to themselves. And let me explain that real quick. When you get to a certain point, and to a much lesser extent, at a very young age, a radio company gave me a lot of money to do a job for them. And that lasted for 15 years. I literally just sat and carved up pieces of my life and got smaller and smaller and smaller to the point where I was just full of resentment because I thought everybody had it out for me, right? Enter Elon Musk, where perception is the most important thing in his life. None of this matters.
And it's not going well for him.
Money doesn't matter.
Perception side.
No, the perception, he's toast. He has the worst reputation out of any billionaire on the planet. And it's about to get worse. And the reason why he's on the offensive now, things like this. Headline from MSNBC, U.S. Virgin Islands issued subpoena to Elon Musk in Jeffrey Epstein lawsuit. Now, that story is about to break. Like, I mean break. And it's going to include his brother. His name's Kimball Musk. Great name. Who dated one of Jeffrey Epstein's former ex-girlfriends and introduced Elon Musk to Jeffrey Epstein back in 2012. Now, the U.S. Virgin Islands is suing J.P. Morgan Chase. J.P. Morgan is the bank that Jeffrey Epstein used as his bank to give people, let's say, like Elon Musk, money for things so that he was the guy who could get involved. Now, interesting that this takes place now because I read this morning that he has dodged a subpoena for 3 months. They can't find him, even though he pops up and does interviews. So he's been hiding. Now that story is broken and it keeps getting wiped off of Twitter, that story you cannot find on Twitter. And when you find it, it disappears in 5 minutes. I have a feeling that this is one of the reasons why he bought Twitter. It's so that he could try to cover his tracks with all kinds of tweets and bots and all the other shit. Russia's another reason. China's another reason. Control the message, making people happy that you sell cars to. He is the most duplicitous billionaire fuck on the planet.
But hold on. I mean,
I got another video.
You honestly think that
Go ahead.
Anybody with that kind of money
isn't duplicitous? Yes. I would like to think so. And when character and values matter more than you, because listen, no one wants to be around Elon Musk because he's a good guy. No one wants to hang around with him because he's a lot of fun. Did you watch that clip? That might be the most boring ass fucker on the planet. And one of the most awkward individuals on the planet. No one likes being awkward. So the only reason he knows this now, he knows Elon Musk knows that the only reason anybody wants to be anywhere near him is because of his stuff. And that is crushing over time. And he's being crushed. He is crushing himself. And I fucking love watching it. Like, I absolutely love it. Because all of his and he said it right in that clip. I don't give a fuck. Offer me money. Offer me this. I don't care. And I'll tell you something, Block, you nailed it. He absolutely does. That quiver in his lip was the realization that he's painted himself into the biggest loser corner on the planet, and every camera is pointed at him right now.
Well, and not only that, he probably also realizes that any sense of control he has over this message he's losing when an interview goes sideways like that. That's probably the more. I bet you I'd bet a lot of money that he said something before he sat down and those cameras rolled about how that message was going to go. And he probably had a list of demands for that interview. And then when it starts to go sideways, when somebody has, and you can tell how nervous the interviewer is, he's off script.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Everybody was, dude. And earlier in the interview, they were talking about work from home. Now, again, duplicity, right? Like, the one thing he says means so many other things. He's always got 10 meanings or some kind of manipulative message in everything that he says. So he asked him about work from home. Now, do you think a guy that whose bread and butter, whose billions came from travel, wants people to work from home?
Yeah.
No. I want you to listen to him explain it. It's so painful listening to him talk about why people should go back to work. That I had to turn it off. I was embarrassed. You know, when you see someone embarrass themselves and you got to walk away? This was one of those times. Let's watch.
Look, I'm a big believer that people are more productive when they're in person, and really, man, the whole sort of work from home thing. It's like, I think it's. Look, there are some exceptions, but I kind of think that the whole notion of work from home is a bit like the fake Marie Antoinette quote, "Let them eat cake." Mm-hmm. It's like really, you're going to work from home and you're going to make everyone else who made your car come work in the factory. You're going to make the people who make your food that gets delivered that they can't work from home. The people that come fix your house, they can't work from home, but you can. Does that seem morally right? That's messed up.
You see it as a...
Not only does none of that make any sense, it's completely not applicable because their jobs are to deliver food.
The one thing that I will say about that,
a car maker's job is just to make a fucking car, and they willingly went and did those jobs.
Yeah,
people that have the ability to not be at home, not be at work, and want to work from home, dude, life has changed. Fucking get on with it. You can't fool us into thinking you're in it for the rest of humanity by saying, I make cars and travel equipment, so people need to start traveling again. Like, we get it, dude. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I get that argument, but I think, I'm sorry. I agree that you're more productive when you remove yourself from your home life. I agree with it. I think
not a chance, dude.
I think there's something to that. I'm
2 hours of travel. You know what I do with those 2 hours of travel that I would normally
not get back? There's examples where you're probably going to be. There are people that are more productive at home, but overall, I think it depends on the job. I think there are situations where, and I also worry about that lack of community in a world moving forward where you have to see. The thing is, everyone in Ontario's sitting here doing the 2 hours of commute. Like, I get that you're wasting a lot of time getting to and from work if that's an issue, and you're probably saving types, situations like that. But I kind of agree that I think people, if you have a job where there's people involved and you're creative, or there's that energy you just don't get if you're working by yourself. I kind of agree.
Your buddy Al, Indian Al, is like, I'm more productive working from home. Locker, dude. We built Flamethrower
Al's an artist
that does millions of views every day
Yeah.
While I've been
It depends
at
on the job. It depends on the job. For
we
me,
built a huge podcast with us at home, right? Like,
for
I
me,
mean,
I see a benefit in being in a building and doing what I do separately from this. This I don't. I still haven't wrapped my head around why this works. Right, you and I don't get that. But I feel like if I had my
Twin
radio
dongs?
show where all three of us were in different rooms and we were doing Teams calls, and I'm done with all that shit. Like creative meetings now, sitting down with my boss and coming up with ideas for the show. I'm sorry. I do tend to feel bad about that lack of community and that isolation in some jobs. Right. I don't know if it's
well,
great.
you like the interaction too, though. Right?
I am
like
actually,
you
Ellen,
feed
I
off
am
of
not an
interaction.
extrovert. I'm actually an introvert. And I believe that. Ellen's saying
You are an introvert.
Yeah.
That much
Yeah.
I know. Every night that we chat, you're at home, I'm at home. We're both introverted.
I
We're
avoid
having cake.
Yeah.
Cake and a joint.
No,
lemon cake.
No, that's you. I'm drinking 6 beer.
I know you are.
No.
Anyway, the end of this clip, Elon Musk goes off on a rant on how immoral it is.
Oh,
for
this
people
is
who can,
painful.
Dude, the world has to sit through this. That means everybody that listens and watches this podcast has to sit through it too. You know why? I want people to listen to this guy and ascertain whether or not he's the fucking genius he says he is.
Yes.
I mean, I see it more as
And
just
it's a productivity issue, but it's also a moral issue. People should get off the goddamn moral high horse with the work from home bullshit. Because they're asking everyone else to not work from home while they do.
And yet
it's wrong.
There's still pushback, by the way. It's still going on. This battle is still happening. I mean, leaders of organizations, and I speak to plenty of them, I want people back. I want people back. 3 days a week, they're still battling. It's not clear that it's ever going to change. People are not coming back 5 years.
I don't think we're going back.
The laptop class is living in La La Land, okay? As I said, you can't, but look at the cars. Are people working from home here? Of course not. So the people were, building cars, servicing the cars, building houses, fixing houses, making the food.
You can't compare all this stuff, though. That's a problem,
dude.
Like,
and that's my whole
issue.
point. Like if he is the genius, like listening to him is painful. But if he's the genius that he tells everybody he is every day, or his proxies and his little boys like Viva Frey and Ian Miles Chong, those douche lords, that prop him up. If he was that guy, he'd be able to explain why people should go to work, and it should make sense. Instead, he's like, well, what about roofers? What about cars? Well, you can't roof someone else's house from your fucking basement, moron. And you can't build someone's car in your own home. Holy fuck.
I have a quick story, though. I will say this, and this got hit home for me this past weekend. I did an on a location, a remote radio does this. So it was a Saturday. It was noon to 4. And it's a company, Gateway. They own a number of casinos in the country, and they use their radio buy to prop up a organization they feel very strongly about, Team Rubicon. And if you get a minute, you should look into them. They're a very interesting organization, fairly new, but it was established by ex-military and veterans of the armed forces in Canada. And they've put this group of people together. They train people that don't have military background, so you don't have to be a veteran to join Team Rubicon. And they do deployments around North America and around the world in disaster situations, and they help clean up. Right? They've been to hurricanes, they've been to wildfires, they've been to floods, and so Starlight, the local casino, had an event owned by Gateway. And they invited me down to sort of get the message out and help raise a little bit of money for Team Rubicon. And it was awesome. It was a great day. And I met some really interesting people. And one of the individuals that I met, and I won't mention her name just because I didn't ask her for approval to talk about her.
Oh, you're learning. Congratulations.
She ended up sort of hanging out with me in my area because I interviewed her quite a few times on the radio, and she was talking about how excited she was about this event. There was people from the Gateway Gives organization from all over Canada that came out for this event. They bought this trailer for Team Rubicon, and this was the trailer launch. It was a great day. And they bought a bunch of supplies for them, and the trailer was actually off to Cache Creek because of a flood, and they're helping out families and things like that, clean out basements and everything like that. And she was just like, the last couple of years have been just so difficult. She has a job she can do at home with a laptop on her kitchen table. No problem. She does not need to go to work. She lives in a very busy city, a major hub in Canada, and it takes her quite a bit of time to get to work, and she has just been dying, right, about not being able to work around people and do events. And so that, to me, I understand, and I was very lucky at the beginning of COVID. They took everybody and removed them from the office and left us to our own devices at the radio station. So my life wasn't disrupted, but I've known some people, and it's had an impact on the mental health, I think, of a couple of people I know that were working from home, and now they lost that community, that connection, that daily. And that's the thing that I
have a conversation. I think, in the work environment, you bring up a great point, right? In the work environment,
Elon has got his head up his ass. He's being selfish. He's a business owner, and he's pissed off that he has to, that the union or whatever,
he's being manipulative in the middle of the fucking interview, and it's almost like he thinks everyone else out there is a fucking moron too. Like, we're not as dumb as you. You got lucky. Dad gave you some emeralds. You cashed in.
Yeah.
You got fired from PayPal, took a little bit of money, and then you bullied your way through the process and hooked up with Jeffrey Epstein, and he gave you a bunch of money so you could do your shit. Anyway, and that's where you learn how to get handies on a fucking plane. Guaranteed.
It's interesting that he's connected with. There's a couple of people that didn't we have a list of people that were associated? Didn't we have his Black contact book? Jeffrey Epstein's.
Oh, it was published, dude. I have it. Elon Musk's name is in it.
Is it? Okay.
So is Conrad Black's.
Wow.
And Barbara, his wife. Dude, Donald Trump is in it. Every Trump, with the exception of Ivanka, is in it. No, Ivanka might be in it, actually. It is greasy. Yeah, well, there are a few Canadians in that book, by the way. Few. Watch.
Anybody else?
It's going to happen. It's
worth mentioning?
I'd have to go get the list. I don't really remember the list. You want me to look it up right now?
No, we don't need to.
I don't think I can get in trouble for it.
Things are going well right now. Last thing Crier Media needs is another lawsuit.
No, I don't.
Look, Dean's doing well. He's starting to wear buttons on his shirt. Do we need to take this next step? All right.
All right, that's it for us. Have a wonderful day, everybody. That is Lochlin Cross 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton. He's the host of the Locker Room. You can listen every single weekday morning online. 957 Cruise FM.
Are we doing a Monday show, or are we taking a day off?
Yeah, we're back on Monday and Friday. I just want to remind everybody, our newest colleague, Charles Adler, and I will go one-on-one. Okay. And then we're going to play that interview for you right around same time. And I'm really looking forward to it because Charles and I have had some wonderful conversations. Dude, I fucking love that guy. Love.
I worked with Charles.
You will love him too. In Winnipeg, right?
Yeah. I wonder if he remembers me.
Should he? Do you have things to tell me about your relationship with Charles Adler before? Were you nice?
There's always a level of concern you should have if I bring up, hey, I know that guy.
I'm already taking his side, just so you know. No matter what you tell me or he tells me, I'm on his side. Because
Let's just put it this way. If you're going to meet somebody that spent any time working with me, there's going to be no gray area. Right? There's no, lock up. Yeah. It was either love them or hate them.
Yeah.
I don't have one of those personalities.
You've had a change of heart, though. I've watched you smooth out some rough edges. Maybe you guys will get along famous. I think you will, because you're both wired the same. You're both intensely proud of West. You both love the province of like he loves the province of Alberta. Loves like big hearts. Love the province of Alberta.
I remember being a fan of Charles Adler's talent, and the thing about Charles that I think is also not discussed is his ability to interview people, because he listens.
He has no equal as far as an interview goes.
Yeah, and he's brilliant in that sense. We were in the same building together for quite a few years, and I remember he was just starting. It was just starting to be rock star status. I better go. My wife is calling me. I might be in trouble. I used the points card to buy liquor. It's a no-no. Okay, I gotta go. See ya.
Hey guys, Jesus Christ, I love that guy. There he goes. He's gonna go get in trouble from the wife because he used his fucking points card to get booze. Anyway, congratulations to us for being the winner of the Charles Adler sweepstakes. Crier.co, now the home of Charles Adler, maybe one of the finest individuals I've ever met, and he is the gold standard of broadcasting in this country, and you will soon see why. Anything you need to know, Charles Adler, at Charles Adler on Twitter, go say hi to him. Welcome him to Crier Media with us. He will be starting whenever the fuck he wants to start, probably in June, early June. We've got a whole bunch of planning to do. But from my mouth to your ears, this is a gift to Canada to bring someone like him, give him the ability that he hasn't had for a long time. And it is not just my pleasure. We literally won the Charles Adler sweepstakes. So what does that say about us? We're hiring. While Vice goes tits up, BuzzFeed files for bankruptcy, we're hiring. So if you are a writer, if you're a podcaster, if you're coming out of traditional media, if the decrepit, collusive, lying traditional media in this country has sent you for a loop and you just want to go and work and not have to worry about what you say or what you can't say, or have someone come up to you after and go, come into my office. No. We don't do that here. We hire people to be passionate, to deliver content the way they see fit in the niche that we actually love, which is yours. info@crier.co if you have any other questions. Or if you'd like to be part of the team. Who doesn't want to work with Charles Adler? I know I'm excited. Have a great day. Thanks to all of our partners for making this possible, including but not limited to my friends at Cantork, Canada's assembly tool experts, making rugged, hardworking, beautiful torque wrenches. Canada's leading industrial tool experts, offering you the very best in sales and service, rentals, calibration, maintenance, custom fabrication of industrial torque tools. No matter the scale of your bolting project, we have your solution. And trust me, they do. They're located in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, proudly Canadian, intensely Canadian. And they brought all the manufacturing back from overseas a couple of years ago because they love Canada. So Canadian-made products, looseners, fasteners, torque jobs that you cannot get a torque wrench for. They build it, manufacture it, maintain it, fix it, and they will come up with your solution in any industry, including the nuclear, metal industry, the steel industry, railroad industry. It doesn't matter. Forestry. There are tools out there that will blow your mind. And if you're looking for a bolting, loosening, or fastening solution, these guys are the best in the world. They service everybody around the world, and they're in Canada. And we're really proud to work with them. Go to cantork.com for more information and watch the Cantork Pinty's racing team with Alex Tagliani this weekend here in Ontario. Go to cantork.com for more information. There you go. Also, big thanks to Gitch, engineered for any level of performance. We're sponsored by Gitch. Buy 3, get 1 free when you go to Ed's Fine Imports and you check out. That was the word I was looking for. Yeah, that's right. I spaced out on the word checkout. When you check out with 3 or more pairs of Gitch at edsfineimports.com, use promo code GITCH3. He'll send you a free pair. 4 for the price of 3. Premium underwear designed with your movement in mind, made for all levels of performance so that you can walk, run, or sprint through your day in super soft, barely there fabric. Make sure that you get a pair of these, kids. Engineered for any level of performance in everyday life. Premium underwear, boxer briefs, made in Canada for Canadians. edsfineimports.com. Get 3 as your promo code. Order them today. Tell them I said hi. And if you're in trouble legally, or if you're up against it, you got a legal issue you got to figure out, doesn't matter what you did, or if you got accused of something you didn't do, you want to get your life back and get everything straightened out, and you're in Southern Ontario, go to kivlaw.ca. Again, kivlaw.ca. Go and speak to a lawyer. And as a matter of fact, the lawyer of record, Rob Kivlikin, wants you to email him personally. Robert at kivlaw.ca. Again, Robert at kivlaw.ca. He knows you need good criminal defense attorneys. You can get legal help 24/7. He knows his clients need honest answers and they want to get their life back. That's what he's about. I trust him, love him, good man. Go to Kivlaw Defense Lawyers today, kivlaw.ca, and he'll be able to help you. Just email Robert, kivlaw.ca. Have a great day. Charles Adler on Friday. Here at crier.co. It's fucking mind-blowing. The home of Charles Adler. We're coming. Yeah. This is the part that I have a tough time with. Not telegraphing what we're going to do next. The guys I work with say, don't do it. Just do the stuff. So that's what we'll do. More announcements to come in the coming weeks, specifically next week and the week after that. That would be coming weeks. Aren't you glad I figured that out for you? Have a great day. Thanks for being here. I'll see you on Friday with Charles Adler. Bye.